I think you're right, Renee, that we're sort of sleepwalking into this. But the reality is, just as with the local elections, I think that there is an ulterior motive also with the jury trials. And we've seen that when it comes particularly to free speech cases, people getting arrested left, right and centre for things that they put up on X or on other social media sites, when they are put in front of a jury, they are acquitted, very quickly
within
acquitted.
hours.
So actually getting rid of jury trials makes it far more likely that there will be injustices. When you look at the list of other leaders throughout history, and I'm not saying that I'm not doing the sort of like classic ad Hitlerum and comparing Keir Starmer directly to Hitler. However, when you do look at the list, I mean, it is entirely a list of dictators.
Yes.
And when you look at it in the broad context of the list that you've just mentioned, and when you look at the fact they're also postponing local elections yet again, it's very difficult not to draw the conclusion that this is like really, really soft authoritarian.
Well, you said that about delaying local election. I know you weren't here for the first 2 hours, but I'll repeat the point that I made. You know, the Osborne-Cameron government did it plenty in 2015.
They did it too.
I didn't hear the big, they're coming together then. Like, I think there are double standards.
Commentariat then.
We were poorer without it. I mean,
the difference is that this has all happened piecemeal, and we have reached the point where some of us feel that we are being absolutely squashed and not allowed to say what we want to say because of it. And maybe that did happen back then. But as I say to Trey every time he brings up the Iran war, we can only deal with what is, not what happened.
I think the thing that you guys are probably missing is I don't think it matters who's in power. I think this is like boiling a frog very slowly. Some people call it the Orwellian creep. I think no matter what happens, you're always going to get more and more control of the state, no matter what political party is in power. And I think it's good that we're starting to talk about these
people need
things.
to rise up and say no.
They do.
Our next question is from Robert. Is Labour's decision to cancel 4 mayoral elections and postpone them till 2028 an assault on democracy? We'll have a quick one on this because it's very similar to what we've just said.
Well, Robert, yes.
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 I'm going to hit him with a no.
Ah, there you go. But you're in the minority, so you must be wrong. Our next question is from Daisy. Nigel Farage has recently been dogged by historic accusations of racism from former classmates. Are alleged remarks dating back to 50 years ago still relevant?
Absolutely not. As I said earlier, I can't remember a single thing I said in the playground when I was 13 years old, particularly when you saw them from all contexts. You know, kids say silly jokes, kids say silly chants, and also times change, as he made that point very powerfully when he was talking about what the BBC was putting on their programs in the 1970s. This is the most nonsense story of the year.
Well, interesting. We've had a lot of comments on this tonight, and Sandra Belgrave said, does anyone have any concrete proof whatsoever that Farage made any one of these comments? Why should he apologise for anything that he is supposed to have said when nobody has any proof? And it's true, Andy, there is not an ounce of proof. And
I believe the 24-odd students. I do. You know, one of these is an Emmy and BAFTA award-winning director. He's not searching for glory. Well, no, the big argument is they're looking for publicity, they're looking for, their 5 minutes of fame. This guy's extremely well established. He's got no reason to lie about Nigel Farage being nasty.
It's really interesting because these people that you believe, the Emmy award-winning BAFTA director, they write to my practice every day to try and get me fired.
I'm sure
that my views.
I'm sure that your man Peter there, who is the Emmy and BAFTA award-winning one, would deny that allegation.
All that means is that he is guaranteed to be about as left-wing as it gets.
Yeah. I don't think
do you know what
I think if you were a young Jewish student and someone had come around going and saying that they were going to gas you and saying that Hitler was right, you'd probably remember it. To be honest,
that's horrendous. I mean, Nigel's older than me by about 10 years or something. I think if we all got judged by what we said in our days when we were so politically incorrect, I don't think anybody would get out of that lightly. So it's possible that he did say it, but can we judge what someone did 50 years ago?
And also look at what he's doing now, judge him by...
Well, he made the point quite rightly that the BBC, for example, going back, not even that long ago, I mean, they up until the 70s, they were still hosting black and white minstrel shows. Yeah. So, it's not just about whether or not you hold people accountable for what they said when they were in school, when they were basically a minor. It's also about whether or not you hold people accountable for things that they said in a completely different time. Now, I'm not saying that under any circumstances saying things like gas the Jews or whatever would ever be acceptable, but the point is there is no proof.
There were societal differences.
There is no proof.
I agree.
It's just a completely vexatious attack.
So the next question is from Daniel. We'll go around the panel here. What do you want for Christmas?
Guaranteed right to free speech in the United Kingdom.
Oh, that's very serious. I want a holiday. What would you like?
Very difficult not to say.
Different interpretations, I suppose.
My two front teeth.
I know what you want.
What do I want?
You want to finish all the studying you've just been doing, don't you?
That was a little bit of a...
Do you know what, honestly? I've got it. What I always wanted for Christmas was to have a child, and my mum and dad would be there with that child, and for this Christmas they will be, because I always never know how long my parents have got. They're both not very well necessarily, so I've already got what I wanted for Christmas.
Aww. What do you want, Andy? And you're not allowed to say an apology from Farage.
Well, quite. Mansfield Town to keep winning like they did today. I think that would be good if we can keep that momentum.
Andy's football team won on penalties, guys.
3-1, guys. 3-1. It was huge. It was pretty big. It was pretty. It's not the same when Alex does it.
Yeah.
So our last question, and it will be a quick one, comes from Jacob. Now that Meghan Markle has reached out to her estranged father in the Christmas spirit, is it time for Prince Harry to reach out to his father? I couldn't care less what Prince Harry and Meghan done, so I'm just going to step out of this conversation.
Don't care.
Don't care.
I do care. I'm very much a royalist, and I think if they can heal their relationship, I think it's good for everyone, to be honest.
You probably should ring your dad if he's got cancer. Yeah. Probably. Yeah.
So I'm going to defend Meghan Markle here because I am...
Oh, my God.
No, listen, I am estranged from my father for many very good reasons, as is one of my sisters. And honestly, I wouldn't ever reach out, and no one would convince me to, because nobody knows what he has done in my life.
He can reach out if he wants, but the king should tell him to go jump in the lake.
Oh, bit strong.
Really a harsh father.
Taking it personally.
Half fair. I'm sorry. If my son comes out and trashes me in his biography, I'm sorry. It's going to take a bit more than oh, hey, Dad, Merry Christmas, to get me back on side.
I actually think that Harry's bigger problem is with his brother than his father.
Yes,
I think his brother...
that's true.
Yeah.
Do you think
A father's love is unconditional. A brother's, on the other hand.
Forgiveness, guys. I think forgiveness is a big thing. Christmas is the best time to
Do you
forgive.
think Uncle Andy will be getting a call from Harry? You know, will he be on the Christmas list? I wonder.
I thought for a moment...
Doubt it.
Yeah, I was
Now that you've lowered the tone, I'm going to wrap this up. Up next, with a ceasefire achieved in the war in Gaza behind us, isn't it time that nations put politics behind them, left the campaigns at home, and instead let the music speak for itself?
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
Well, he went to Sandhurst and graduated, and then decided the Farage wanted him, so he decided to go Royal Artillery. And he loved being in the army. He loved the camaraderie, the spirit, everything else. And he had a great career ahead of him. Went to Iraq and Afghanistan, and came back, and everything was fine. We were so relieved as parents. And then the signs started to be there of PTSD. It was quite a while after he came back that they sort of manifested themselves, and everything went downhill after that. And it was a long fight for him to try and get help, but there was no help available. There was no one he could turn to. And in the end, my wife and I, we had to care for him, which was very, very difficult for all of us. And there, you know, he was with us for about 18 months, and then in the end he passed away. He had an enlarged heart. He was struggling very much with PTSD, so he turned to alcohol. But as most veterans do when they have this problem, and in the end he obviously passed away 8 years ago. And we had no help at the time, and we didn't have anybody giving us advice or where we could go. And I was with Nigel. I went to Combat to Coffee a few years ago with Nigel, and we got this. The author of the book, Rob Parker, presented this to us and sent it to me. And everything in here in this book was so true. And with us, it was like a manual for us, or a diary really, of what was happening and what could happen.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5. Please do continue to get in touch with us. You are brilliant, and I am reading them, I promise. Get in contact at gbnews.com/yoursay. Get your questions in for Ask the Five, and thank you for your messages so far. Just a couple to read out. Rocket Cat says, and I won't use the language, what do I want for Christmas? A new government. I agree.
Very good. Thank you, Rocket Cat. Thank you.
That would be really good. Some people do feel that you are a little obsessed, Andy, particularly Claire T, showing how obsessed the left are with the rise of reform.
I mean, God, I think if they had that same criticism with the BBC, perhaps the BBC would stop putting reform on as much. I think everyone talks about reform too much. I completely agree. Thank you, Claire T. Thank you.
Last Thursday, a secret ballot in Geneva earmarked to Israel's participation in this year's Eurovision Song Contest. Now, an entirely predictable group of nations have objected to this. So far, Spain, Ireland, Slovenia and the Netherlands have already said they will not compete. I'm very disappointed with the Netherlands, by the way, and with more predicted to follow. But with a ceasefire achieved and the war in Gaza behind us at the moment, isn't it time that nations put politics behind them, left the campaigns at home and instead just let the music speak for itself? To discuss this tonight, I'm really pleased to welcome Eurovision expert and founder of Entertainment Odds, Rob Ferber. Hi, Rob. Thank you for joining us tonight. I mean, I've been watching this with interest and I'm absolutely horrified at these countries for their clear anti-Semitism, in my opinion, against Israel, because they just have never wanted Israel in it. They didn't want Israel in it now. They haven't got their way, so they're throwing their toys out of the pram. What say you?
No, I wouldn't see it that way at all. What we're seeing here is clear evidence. The EBU, the European Broadcasting Union, which runs Eurovision, values Israel's participation far more greatly than any other nations who have been thrown out of the competition due to political reasons, such as Russia and Belarus. It's seemingly unwilling to punish it with expulsion, despite Israel's clear infringements.
Infringements of what, Rob?
Well, Israel this year instrumentalised the contest clearly, blatantly seeking to ramp up televote support. The Prime Minister of Israel, no less, Benjamin Netanyahu, went on Instagram prior to this year's Eurovision and told his 2.5 million followers, everyone vote for Israel 20 times.
There's nothing stopping any. I guess there's nothing stopping any other prime minister of doing that for their country.
No, that's not allowed under the rules of Eurovision. There were government agencies as well running social media campaigns, ramping up televote support for Israel, and lo and behold, Israel topped the televote in this year's grand final.
Israel did have a beautiful song, if I remember. It was an absolutely beautiful song.
Well, it was a decent ballad, but again, you know, we're seeing Israel. It previously submitted a song called October Rain to compete at Eurovision 2024, and that was a clear reference to the Hamas attacks and the Gaza conflict. That got thrown out by the EBU. This year's Israeli artist Yuval Raphael was a survivor of the October 7 Hamas attack, and she had the song New Day Will Rise. It was a very rousing, emotional ballad, like you say. But again, this is Israel treading a fine line with its entry and seeking to harness a politically motivated vote. You know, the Israeli broadcaster always wants to proclaim its innocence, but it is complicit. And what we see with Israel at Eurovision, I believe, is completely intentional and cynical, seeking to get that televote support.
Sure. I mean, I couldn't disagree with you more, but I will see what my panel think, because I have no idea.
Rob, I can't confess to being a Eurovision historian as such. I find it a tad odd, actually, that Australia is a member of Eurovision, despite being nowhere near the European continent. At least in recent years, Eurovision has become politicised. Has this always just been the case, or was there once a time where the best song won?
No, I think the aim is still for the best song to win, and the EBU is fighting to keep politics out of the contest. Unfortunately, it has become heavily politicised in recent years. I mean, just go back to Eurovision 2022, Ukraine won, got a huge televote across Europe, and that was in support of Ukraine for the war. So, you know, again, we're seeing a politically motivated vote, and this is the issue now that we have with Israel. So, you know, it's got a sort of difficult situation on its hands. I can understand countries withdrawing.
Well, I'm just going to jump in quickly. Was it okay for Ukraine to win that then, Rob?
Well, I think it is supposed to be a song contest ultimately, and politics shouldn't come into it. And the EBU stresses that it is supposedly an apolitical contest. But, you know, it made an error, in my view, letting Ukraine win in 2022, because what we see is the juries scored Ukraine down. They scored Israel down this year. The reason being they don't want Israel winning due to a political televote. So, you know, I think the juries scored Israel down in about 14th place this year.
Even though it's a beautiful song.
It still got very close to winning. It was second to Austria. But, you know, it was a case of the EBU just managing to avert what would have been a disaster for it had Israel won this year.
But it just seems wrong and discriminatory to me that you say that the jury would sort of rank them down. Now, I don't watch Eurovision. I'm not particularly interested in it. I agree that I don't think these sorts of things should be politicised, but I have an issue with the way that you seem to be defining the political, because surely it's perfectly acceptable for a country like Israel to have a song, a rousing song, and I think Renee's right, an unusually beautiful song, because usually, at least to my knowledge, Eurovision songs are a bit crap. I thought it was a very good, a very moving song about something very horrible that happened to the Israeli people. That's not political. Music is supposed to express deep human experiences. So what could possibly be wrong with that? I don't see how this can be understood in any other way than just pure, straightforward discrimination against Israelis.
No, it is political. I mean, that's why, you know, you've seen 4 countries pull out, and Iceland meets next week to decide what it's going to do. And I've read today that Armenia could pull out. You know, the EBU has put itself in a very difficult spot, okay? Because I've explained to you that, you know, what happened with the televote, that's not a song contest. That's politicising the event when you've got the, you know, president of Israel going onto Instagram to request people across Europe to vote for Israel.
Rob, I just want to jump in there. As someone who's been a musician for a lot of my life, I actually welcome the fact that politics is part of music, and I actually welcome the fact that these countries have the freedom to decide what they want to do. But, you know, when you look at the history of Lennon and Dylan, Marvin Gaye, Sam Cooke, the Beatles, Edwin Starr with War, maybe the Eurovision should actually become more political and reflect the reality of the creativity of music.
Well, you know, I think some of these countries are making a stand on humanitarian grounds, but I think in some instances these countries are withdrawing because of Israel propagandizing the contest. It's as clear as day that that's what Israel are doing. And, you know, the EBU has tried to change the rules now for next year to appease these countries, but it hasn't gone far enough. And that's the issue. And that's why, you know, even like Spain is one of the big 5, it's pulling out. That's a massive blow to the EBU because, you know, Spain helps to finance the event.
It's interesting,
you know,
it's interesting though, Rob, isn't it? Because last year Ireland, who is one of the countries this year who has pulled out, had a non-binary kind of person who looked like a pixie, that I couldn't even tell you what they were, who made speeches, political speeches on the stage, cried because Israel got through to the next round. So these countries that are now complaining that it's politicised did enough of their own political work on the stage at Eurovision last year as well.
Yeah, but you see, you're playing into the hands of Israel right there, because that's what they want you to feel, and that's why it ends up topping the televote. It's manipulation. It's nothing to do with a song contest.
I watched it, Rob. I watched her cry. I watched her cry on stage, or him cry, whatever it was, they cry. I watched it. I'm not, listening to Israel. My eyes told me.
I think people need to get a grip here, to be honest. Who cares? It's Eurovision. It's a contest that at least 3 out of the 5 on this panel have confessed they don't watch. Most people don't watch it. I think we all need to get a grip. Music is political. Music is political inherently. Some of the best songs, as Trey said, some of the best songs have been born out of politics. True. I think we all just need to get a grip. Their wages are stagnating, kids are starving, people are freezing. We need to get a grip.
True.
I tell you why I care. I care because not because I care about Eurovision, but because I care about Israel, and because I care about the fact that this is part of a broader boycott of Israel that I think is just straightforwardly discriminatory. And so my question, I guess, to you would be, if you have these countries who you say they're doing it for humanitarian reasons, but the Netherlands is a good example of this, probably doing this due to pressure from their population. You saw the way that they treated Maccabi Tel Aviv fans going on a Jew hunt when they came to watch their football game playing in Amsterdam. Surely this is just those countries and Eurovision caving into pressure from bigots.
Oh, can you hear us, Rob?
Oh, you want me to answer that?
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything to do with that. I've tried to explain it. I don't know why you sort of don't seem to understand what I'm trying to explain to you. But the EBU has gone as far as changing this year's rules. Good. Okay, and this still. The worry is that it doesn't go far enough. It says it's going to police the disproportionate social media promotion of artists competing, which is what happened with Israel. How exactly does that happen, and to what extent? It seems a bit wishy-washy. It's reduced the votes that any one person can have from 20 to 10.
Why should anyone have more than one vote?
Well, those are the rules. It was 20 votes per person. They've reduced it to 10 for next year because of the campaign that Israel carried out to manipulate the televote. It's brought juries back as well for the semi-finals, because the semi-finals had become televote only in the last couple of years. So we saw Ukraine win one semi-final this year, and we saw Israel win the other semi-final. Rob, do the maths on that. You can work it out. It's political voting, and that's why we're in this situation.
Can I push back on that a tiny bit just before we wrap up? I think you're right, and I think if the rules need to be changed and people go down to one vote, then fine. It's within the EBU's power to change as many rules as they want. We have seen over the last 15 to 20 years, since we had the breakup of the Soviet Union and the European countries sitting there on their own, all vote for each other. All of those Eastern Bloc countries that sit next to each other give each other 12 points. That's political. That's just a game. So we cannot pretend that prior to Ukraine, prior to Israel, that this whole singing competition isn't just a game of people massaging each other's backs to be friendly with their neighbours.
It's not that at all. The UK will give its 12 points to Ireland. It's geopolitical. Yes. It's because you have a familiarity with the songs of your near neighbours. Romania and Moldova often exchange high scores. Greece and Cyprus. It's not just Russia. Russia aren't in the contest anymore because they got kicked out. Because, like I say, the EBU weren't happy with Russia being in the competition.
I didn't say Russia.
But they're happy. They're happy for Israel to be in the competition. So, work that one out.
So that's why the French always give us nil points, because they just don't understand our songs.
Listen, Rob, thank you so much for being a good sport and to listening to us tonight. And thank you for your time.
Thanks, Rob. Cheers, Rob.
There's also just the Israel double standard at play here again, and that you could pick out some sort of human rights violation from literally any country in that competition. You could say the UK's failure to act on grooming gangs is a reason for them not to vote. You could say Australia's treatment of its Indigenous population is a reason not to vote for Australia. It's the Israel double standard once again at play.
Do Russia compete in Eurovision? Are they still banned?
They were banned.
Are they still banned? I think this is, I mean, not to repeat my point, but my God, it's, 8:30 on a Saturday. Do we not have more pressing things to discuss than the Eurovision song contest?
But it is a massive audience as well.
Politics is downstream from culture.
I think politics should be in, and I think there's nothing wrong with these countries if they feel they don't agree with what Israel did, removing themselves from the competition.
I think
but the other issue I have is as well is if people criticise a government, it can't just automatically be anti-Semitism.
No, but
if you don't like what Nigeria did, I can't say you're just racist because it's a black country.
That's what this is, and as Will said, it's a double standard that gets, particularly, Israel particularly gets sort of like drilled into for this. But I think the point is that if the Eurovision is supposed to be about like bringing people together and unifying people, you can't also have it being this sort of divisive thing where I'm not going to, take part in those people.
For a while.
But as we're on to silly competitions, up next, find out what a raccoon has done in a liquor store in Virginia. And you don't want to miss this, guys. It's my favourite bit of the week.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Storm Byron is bringing further heavy, thundery rain to eastern parts of the Mediterranean through the next few days. There's also a bit of rain pushing into parts of Portugal, western Spain. A few outbreaks of rain across the southern parts of Italy tomorrow and affecting Sicily as well. Meanwhile, it's in the east of the Mediterranean where we're seeing Storm Byron bringing heavy, thundery downpours. Those rainfall totals continuing to build up for a little while yet, so some disruption is likely.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good evening and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. As we move into Sunday, we do have further rain on the way, spreading northeastwards across the UK, but bringing with it some mild southwesterly winds. And here it is on the pressure sequence. So low pressure in charge, this frontal system bringing the rain northwards as we go through the day on Sunday. And the ice bars once again squeezing together, particularly in the south. So showers will gradually die away for some of us through the course of this evening, but they will continue across the Northern Isles of Scotland. Otherwise, some clearer spells developing for many, but later in the night it starts to turn cloudier and breezier across the southwest. Temperatures start to rise as well, 10 to 12 degrees by the end of the night, and there will be some outbreaks of rain arriving for many of us by the time we get to the morning. Further north, though, it should be a largely dry night and a bright start to the day on Sunday, even with some sunshine across parts of Scotland. But it will be quite chilly. There could even be some patchy frost in the glens first thing. We'll run into the cloud and the rain across parts of Northern Ireland, and that rain will be steadily turning heavier through the morning, a rainfall warning coming into effect at 8 a.m. Quite a damp start to the day across more southern counties of England and across Wales too, and that rain is only going to get heavier as we go through the course of the morning. It will start to turn breezier too, and the rain will continue to spread its way northeastwards across the UK as we go through the day on Sunday. The rain generally always heaviest towards the northwest, especially Northern Ireland, where there could be some surface water on the roads, and then reaching parts of Scotland through the afternoon. Staying fairly cool across the north of Scotland, but mostly dry until after dark, and perhaps brightening up in the far southwest later in the day. For Monday, it's looking like a brighter day for most of us. We'll all see some sunny spells at times. There'll be a scattering of showers here and there, particularly in the north and the west. Some of those heavy with the chance of thunder, and perhaps turning cloudier in the south later in the day. And that's ahead of what could potentially be quite a spell of very strong winds and even stormy conditions for some parts of the UK as we move into Tuesday.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the bit that I personally have been looking forward to all day because my high five is fantastic. But before we get to my high five, I'm afraid we have to listen to Will's.
Well, look, it may not be as exciting as Drunken Raccoons, but what I think is important is that local councillors do their jobs. I'm so sick of these people going out and pretending like they're some sort of global advocates for Gaza. So it's nice to see a local councillor find a problem and fix it. And that's why I'm really excited that the UK's worst pothole has finally been fixed after 2 years. It's on a notorious road in Northern Ireland. Councillor Quinn has been, and that is literally his body in the pothole.
I thought that was
That's
you.
not a pothole, it's a swimming pool.
I thought it was Will in that.
He has been campaigning for 2 years to get this pothole fixed. Finally, I am told that the road is safe to be driven on. The pothole has been fixed. A councillor is doing his job. What a win for Northern Ireland. What a win for the United Kingdom. What a win for humanity more generally.
How'd you even get a pothole that deep?
I think I would have planted a tree in it.
That's a sinkhole.
They're drilling for oil, isn't it, or something there?
Yeah, but doesn't it just say so much about local government that it took 2 years to fix?
Do you think the
that pothole?
council was waiting for it to get to Australia?
Maybe they were going to turn it into an underground house or something for someone.
All right, Renee, we know you're excited. Come on.
I'm so excited. I have to show you. In Virginia, in America, a raccoon broke into a liquor store, smashed some bottles of alcohol, drunk it all, and this is how he ended up.
Plastered.
I love this. Look at him.
What a lad.
We've all been there.
We have.
Head down the loo.
But look at Andy.
We have been there. We have
We've
been there.
all been there.
He's a boy.
Look at that little raccoon.
And
no
Andy
animals
looks
were
like
hurt.
he's nodding from recent experience.
Yeah, well, quite. That's a
He
comrade
was all
right
right.
there.
Emma, can you beat my raccoon?
I can't. I don't think anyone can beat the raccoon. Although, I mean, there are an ample supply, it seems, every single week of beaver stories.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
And there were some.
You sent me
good,
one this week.
There were some good contenders. However, mine is not beaver or raccoon adjacent. So people are always complaining about things like homelessness and wanting the government to do something about, you know, whether it's, as you were talking about earlier, feeding children and so on. But it turns out you can actually just do things. And that's what's happened this week in the United States. It's such a lovely story. This guy's an 88-year-old guy who was a veteran working in a supermarket in Michigan, had $1.7 million raised for him by an Australian social media influencer. And this guy, his wife had died, and he was struggling to pay for his home, and so he had to go back to work. He's working like 8 hours a day, standing up, working on the self-checkouts. And this wonderful man, his name is Sam Weidenhofer, I think I'm saying that correctly. He took to social media, managed to raise 1.7 million. Now this guy can retire and live out the remainder of his life.
Well done, 1.7 million.
So you can
Good on you,
just
Sam.
do things. You don't have to wait for the government to do it. You
That's
can just
good. He could
do
have
something
had
about
a
it
little
yourself.
tipple like the raccoon after that.
I'm sure he will.
Trey, what have you got for us?
Do you know, I think I'm going to beat your story, right? Because everyone's been up in arms about flags and God knows what. Well, anyway, next year, obviously, we've got good reason to be raising the England flag. And that's because we've got the World Cup, but we've got a brilliant group. We've got Panama, Croatia, Ghana, and I see us sailing through that. So I think we need a little bit of cheer, a little bit of joy, a little bit of reason to smile and get patriotic. So I'm excited. That's my high five for this week.
I'm thrilled that you're excited. I have learned, being a sports fan, never, ever to count your...
It's coming home, Renee.
It's coming home. We're going to win.
It's coming home.
The Rugby World Cup draw was also this week, and there is a likely quarter-final between Australia and England.
would you support?
So that's something.
Would you support Australia?
Of course he will.
I would support Australia.
A guest in this country.
Immigrant.
He's not supporting. Oh, it's just crazy.
I said
traitor.
I said that I would support Australia in the Ashes on Twitter, and Rupert Lowe just commented, "Deport."
Real.
Exactly. Here.
So, Andy, what have you got for us? Come on, can lefties actually have high fives?
I do, and I remember it extremely. I do remember it. It is raising children out of child poverty. We touched on it earlier. I know some people disagree with the means of getting there, but I think the fact that it's the moral mission of the government is
good.
It's the only. It can only be good. 450,000 kids raised out of poverty. That's good. That's positive. That surely that'll lift your spirits, Renee.
Well, I'm paying for Andy. I'm going to be paying for it.
We pay for everything. We pay for everything. We pay for those pensioners, those damn pensioners. These kids that we're raising out of poverty will have to pay for those pensioners as well.
Yeah.
I think it's good. Child poverty bad.
It is a good thing. Let's hope culture as well also sort of transforms as well, so we can keep people out of poverty.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I look after my own child and I work really, really hard to do it.
Well, I look after my grandma. I don't want to look after someone else's grandma. These damn pensioners, coming in here, taking our pensions.
Started to sound a little bit like Zach Polanski.
Oh, quite.
Just a bit. You don't want to wipe bums, do you? But anyway.
If it was Zach's, No, Zach's married. I'm married.
Really?
No, I'm not married. I'm in a relationship.
What do you want to tell us?
I'm in a relationship with my girlfriend. That's very much I love that.
Wow, this is taking a turn.
I know. God, this is.
What you've just highlighted is we've just reached a point in politics where it was a big dividing line now, whether or not we can have a massive state where the state does everything for everyone and every kid and every parental duty, or we go back to small government and let people actually get responsibility and sort themselves.
If we're doing that, we've got to get rid of the triple lot. We've got to get rid of the triple lot.
I don't want to be Debbie Downer, but why should people who are not having more children because they're being financially responsible have to pay through their taxes for other people's kids when they're not working? It just doesn't seem fair. I think, going back to my high five, that this sort of thing should just be done through charity, and that way you can help the people who need it.
There you go. So anyway, after that deep and dark conversation with Andy, up next it's time for more Trigger Tantrums.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back, everybody. I can't even begin to tell you the conversations that go in this room in the break. Trey has just made me laugh more than I've laughed at all. Oh, he's always late. Trey is always late. I won't tell you why he tells us he's always late. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Emma to share her trigger tantrum with us.
So Sadiq Khan's been getting a lot of stick for... It's not really quite a tantrum, but he does look very annoyed, and that's what people have been pointed out. I think we've got a clip of this. So he's been, I think it's in Trafalgar Square, singing Christmas carols, and he just looks really annoyed and unhappy about having to be there.
Good.
But it's not quite a tantrum.
Can I see it? Will's told me about it, but I haven't seen it.
Terribly invested, is he?
Can't you just feel the Christmas cheer?
You guys are reading too much into it. I mean, it could be a whole manner of reasons why. You think he's not doing it because there's a Christmas carol. I mean...
Why is he doing it, then?
Yeah, God knows. He might have had bad news that morning. It could be any reason.
I think it went on to the high bit of the song there, and I don't think Sadiq's range...
You think he's not a falsetto?
He's a tenor, that's the reason why.
You should have seen him later in the clip. It was pretty good. It's pretty good.
I do think that this kind of thing is a cultural thing. I think Christmas carols are a big part of our culture, and I think more effort should be put in by the mayor of this great city.
Yeah, I think that as I was saying in the break, I think the charitable interpretation is, well, you know, he's Muslim, maybe he doesn't feel comfortable, and you can't really, you know, compel somebody to sing words that they don't agree with. But on the other hand, you're right, it is a cultural thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like as the mayor of this city, when you're at such, you know, we have these big cultural events in Trafalgar Square, that you should just have a bit of gusto, you know?
Yeah. Andy? Let's move on. Can you beat Sadiq Khan with your tantrum?
I probably can. Of course, I'd never beat Sadiq Khan. That would be nasty. My tantrum this week is former Prime Minister and, as we found out, ardent Remainer Liz Truss has taken a slightly different path to her post-premiership life. You know, John Major went and got involved with cricket. Tony Blair got into diplomacy. Gordon Brown decided to fight child poverty. This former Prime Minister has decided to start a YouTube channel. I don't know if we've got a clip of it. Let's see.
The deep state and their allies in the media and politics tried to destroy me because I challenged their decades-long failure. Now I'm back. I will expose the people who brought me down. I will take on the deep state. I will tell the truth about what is happening in our country and across the West. Tune in to the Liz Truss Show every Friday. Tune in to the counter-revolution.
There you go, the Liz Truss Show. Funnily enough, the trailer had more seconds than she had days in office, which I thought was quite novel, quite fun.
Whatever you think of the Truss tenure, she was never the most charismatic presenter, was she?
Joe Rogan is not going to be worried about his ratings.
I don't think
She has quite a big audience in the US, so it might, its audience might be US focused.
Oh, it wasn't. She uploaded it an hour late.
But the thing that I find so mysterious about this is, like you say, Will, she's not the greatest public speaker.
No.
And so this isn't really where her talents lie. I mean, she's not.
Where do her talents lie, would you say?
Behind the scenes, perhaps. Not presenting a show. She's not the type.
No. So I'm going to say I thought it was poor production, and she isn't the most charismatic. However, there will be a big audience who wants to listen to Liz because the way that she's positioning herself is that she will unravel the deep state. That so many people.
She's part of the deep state. She's part of the deep state.
Maybe.
What about?
But there is an appetite for this because people are tired of this global politics where they see everybody, the elites, the billionaires.
The global politics when she was International Development Secretary, when she was Foreign Secretary, she was the global elite. When she says, I'm going to expose the people that took me down, she should just look at a mirror for 90 minutes in silence. That would be more enjoyable to watch and more truthful.
You know what?
It is wild.
Tucker Carlson moment.
Wild.
I think we should let Liz speak for herself, and I've heard a rumour that she might be on the Late Show Live tonight.
I think we've heard too much from Liz Truss, if nothing else. Too much.
So it's worth tuning in for, actually. But I think, you know, people on this panel know that I think that Liz was probably the best Prime Minister that we never got because she did at least, let me finish, put together ideas that would have generated growth. What she failed to do was, A, sell it well to the country, and B, get the markets and the OBR.
Good and C, you've kind of forgot about the spending bit, which was a pretty
So by A, B and C, you mean she didn't do the job? She had great ideas, but just didn't do the job.
The state didn't let her.
She is the state. She was a David Cameron A-list candidate. She was a junior minister, then foreign secretary. She is the deep state of which she speaks.
But the markets didn't let her.
She was chief secretary to the Treasury. She should understand.
She should have dealt with that before she even got the chance. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't agree with that assessment about her. I just think she cost a lot of people.
Well, all I'm going to say then, if you don't agree with it, Trey, is why are the gilt yields since Labour came to power higher than when Liz Truss?
Well, it was a gradual. Under Labour, it's been a gradual increase. Under Liz, it was a massive spike.
Thank you to all of our guests tonight. Thank you to the audience for listening. Thank you to my lovely panel. It's lovely to see Emma next to me, and I'm going to give over to my friend Alex Armstrong, who has a cracking show for us tonight. What's in it, Alex?
Thank you very much, Dr. Renee. Yes, I have a whopper of a show for you tonight. First of all, we can't ignore this week, can we? Because Question Time was an utter disgrace. Zia Youssef was ambushed by the BBC. Zach Polanski insulted carers up and down the country. And Labour and the left managed to get off without being fact-checked once. Keir Starmer has also basically said that the reform are a social and economic threat. I'll be digging into that. And Trump's deportations seem to be having a very positive effect on wages and rents. That's coming up next.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good evening and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. As we move into Sunday, we do have further rain on the way, spreading northeastwards across the UK, but bringing with it some mild southwesterly winds. And here it is on the pressure sequence. So low pressure in charge, this frontal system bringing the rain northwards as we go through the day on Sunday. And the ice bars once again squeezing together, particularly in the south. So showers will gradually die away for some of us through the course of this evening, but they will continue across the Northern Isles of Scotland. Otherwise, some clearer spells developing for many, but later in the night it starts to turn cloudier and breezier across the southwest. Temperatures start to rise as well, 10 to 12 degrees by the end of the night, and there will be some outbreaks of rain arriving for many of us by the time we get to the morning. Further north, though, it should be a largely dry night and a bright start to the day on Sunday, even with some sunshine across parts of Scotland. But it will be quite chilly. There could even be some patchy frost in the glens first thing. We'll run into the cloud and the rain across parts of Northern Ireland, and that rain will be steadily turning heavier through the morning, a rainfall warning coming into effect at 8 a.m. Quite a damp start to the day across more southern counties of England and across Wales too, and that rain is only going to get heavier as we go through the course of the morning. It will start to turn breezier too, and the rain will continue to spread its way northeastwards across the UK as we go through the day on Sunday. The rain generally always heaviest towards the northwest, especially Northern Ireland, where there could be some surface water on the roads, and then reaching parts of Scotland through the afternoon. Staying fairly cool across the north of Scotland, but mostly dry until after dark, and perhaps brightening up in the far southwest later in the day. For Monday, it's looking like a brighter day for most of us. We'll all see some sunny spells at times. There'll be a scattering of showers here and there, particularly in the north and the west. Some of those heavy with the chance of thunder, and perhaps turning cloudier in the south later in the day. And that's ahead of what could potentially be quite a spell of very strong winds and even stormy conditions for some parts of the UK as we move into Tuesday.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
This is your chance to become our biggest cash prize winner to date. £85,000 in totally tax-free cash could be making its way from our bank account to yours. It would be like having over £7,000 per month extra to play with, each month for a whole year. That could be you, safe in the knowledge that 2026 is on us. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
We love Great Britain. We love its history, its culture and its tradition, and that's why we're so proud to be part of GB News.
You look genuinely emotional. Oh, come here.
GB News does pay attention to those who are ignored by the mainstream media. The majority of this country whose forefathers fought and died to maintain liberty, to fight for freedom of speech.
The rule of law, the rights of property and democracy. This is the heritage that our country should be so proud of.
Which of course includes our Christian heritage. There's been a huge resurgence in the number of people going to church. Perhaps they're not finding what they're looking for, and they're looking for something a bit deeper, a bit more truthful, a bit more akin to Britain's Christian heritage.
That's right, get ready, because the most exciting night in general election history starts now!
Good evening, it's 9 o'clock. I'm Alex Armstrong tonight.
This is a united team.
United team. I think you are completely delusional, Sakir. The Prime Minister has branded Reform UK a social and economic threat to Britain, but has the man managed to take a look in the mirror at his own policies recently? Also,
on earth it can be deemed appropriate that people who broke into this country illegally should have a seat at the table in a political discussion?
More BBC chaos, this time on Question Time. Labour MP Mike Tapp isn't fact-checked, Zach Polanski is slammed for his disgraceful comments about carers, and was an illegal migrant with a headset planted to ambush Reform's Zia Youssef. And
Everyone's linked arms to try to force us, I think, out.
Well, it's a story that GB News has been following for a while now. The Tories think we should boot out anti-Semitic foreign students out of the country. That is going to be our big head-to-head this evening. Also, is Prince Harry playing